Hey classes, Mr. Hayes here. Happy Friday, everybody. Today's mini lesson video is going to be very short because it is a review of a teaching point from earlier on in September and a signpost you're all very familiar with, which is contrasts and contradictions. Why are we bringing this back right now? Well, at this point in our memoirs, we are starting to see a lot of change in our character, in our memoir author, and change in the important side characters around the memoir author. And so what better time to bring back this signpost, one that shows behavior or action that's out of character, that's not necessarily what we expect from that person, and reflect on that through a contrast and contradiction reader response. So a review of what that signpost means. Contrast and contradiction, of course, is when an author has a character act in a way that is different than they usually act, or different than I expect them to act. When that happens, you ask yourself, why is the character doing that? So a couple of tweaks with the memoir here. Obviously, we don't have an author inventing a character. It is spoken from the memoir author's perspective. But anytime you see marked change, anytime you see real development and maturation in your character, in your memoir author, they're doing something that is different than what they would be doing earlier in the book. That's a good time to reflect on a C&C signpost. And that C&C signpost can then help you make a prediction or inference about the plot, about the conflict that is either in the past or may lay ahead, and lets you infer forward. So anytime that the memoir author in your book is embracing something new, rejecting something old, becoming something new, admitting a mistake, or turning in terms of their behavior or their attitude, that's a good time to mark that C&C signpost. They're acting differently than what you'd expect from earlier in the book, and that's going to formulate your reader response for today. So as I said before, you are not going to be doing rows anymore. You're done with your memoir note to row chart for the time being. You've turned in those 12 rows to me today. And so instead, we're going to do a reader response this weekend and elaborate a bit on this important turning point or change in our memoir author. So all my directions are right here. After, of course, you read, it says complete the reader response in your MTL. Label it 10-23-20 C&C To Show Change. If you need a reminder on how to make table of contents, because it's been a while since we've done a reader response and worked with our MTL, take a look at that link right there. What I've done here is given you a guide and exactly what I'm looking for from your reader response. You should aim for at least 6 sentences. So I've got 5 bullet points here. If you can answer all of these and then add an additional sentence of clarification or an extra inference, or take one of these bullet points and instead elaborate with 2 sentences instead of 1, you're going to be on pace to get to that 6-sentence mark. You can always go above and beyond and do a little bit more as well. What I'm wondering here is, 1, how did your memoir author used to act, behave, or think at the beginning of the memoir? So kind of set the stage by providing some context in what they used to believe in or how they used to think. How has that action, behavior, or change evolved since the beginning? That's where you prove that the signpost has taken place. How has he or she changed in terms of mindset, behavior, and attitude? What did this change help your memoir author realize? That's the "this is important because" sentence stem. Not just what you notice as far as a signpost, but why is it important? What did the change prompt in your memoir author? What did it lead them to? What will this realization, as I said, lead to in the future? What are you inferring forward and how this change in mindset might help them? What are they now capable of? Maybe they weren't capable of something before with their old ways. Now they are. And are there any individuals in the memoir who may be affected by this change, directly or indirectly? What side characters, what other people in your memoir are now going to be affected directly or indirectly by this new realization from your memoir author? How will it have a domino effect on other people in your memoir author's life? If you can get to 6 sentences with these questions, which I think all of you are capable of, you'll have a great, elaborate, full of depth reader response in your MTL for Monday. And that is all the work you have to do this weekend. So it's reading, assigned LDG pages, completing this reader response, which, as you can imagine, is going to be part of your next MTL log check grade sometime in the first couple weeks of November as we move from the reading phase of the unit to the writing phase of single story. Any questions, give me a holler anytime this weekend or in person. I'll be there to hopefully guide you in the right direction. If you're struggling to come up with a signpost, contrast and contradiction example, I think we can talk it through and we will get to the right place. Thanks, classes. I'll see you soon.